I would highly recommend them do boot camps, pick a skill set. In a couple weeks, you'll at least have a novice level of experience in a technology, just the supply and demand of some of these technologies. I have Python jobs. It's a coding skill, Python. There's just no one to do them in the US. And these jobs just stay open. The comp is $200K for a developer.
Hey guys, welcome back to Success Flow. This is your host, Jose Oliveira, and today we have an amazing guy here. He's a young entrepreneur based in Florida, and he's specialized in tech recruiting. I'm here with Chris Schwenk today, and man, I'm so happy to have you here in the podcast.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Welcome to Miami.
Thank you, man. I would love it.
Yeah, I'm going to get you to move here before you leave. I guarantee it.
You definitely will, and it's crazy because we have been talking about this, and just coming here to this area, man, it's so nice.
I mean, Brickell is the new epicenter. Businesses are coming down here, tech, which we'll talk about. It's perfect for you because all the content creators are here. I like to call it the new Hollywood.
Okay.
Only instead of movies, it's all content creation. It's
nice.
TikTokers, YouTubers, and really everyone to promote their business is doing something online.
I want you to introduce yourself, like tell me a little bit about your background, what you do, I want to know more about you, man.
Yeah, so I've been in the tech recruiting game for over 10 years. Tech has some wild swings. It's a great business because you can make good money and you can also change people's lives.
You recruit people, but how is the process?
Yeah, so I'll break it down. It's basically two businesses. There is the headhunter component. That is where a big company, let's just say Twitter, Elon needs engineers. He wants to hire them on salary. His HR team and recruiting team is looking for them. They can't find them. They go to me. I find the people. If he likes them, then I get a finder's fee of their first year salary. It's industry standard is about 20%. So that's kind of one side of the business. The other side is the consulting side. Elon would also need the same developers, but maybe he doesn't need someone for a permanent basis.
Okay.
There's a project. So he needs someone for 6 months, a year to knock out this project. Maybe he'll keep him on after that, but he knows he definitely needs him for that and might not have the budget to hire the guy full time. So he brings them on as a consultant through me. You're getting the finder's fees when they hire them full time. There's the consulting side where it's kind of like a subscription business where you're getting paid hourly. Those are the two main drivers of revenue in the business, basically. There are basically two ways you can go in tech. You can choose something that is a skill set where there's just a lack of talent that does it. Basically, you would be in extremely high demand. If that technology goes away or less companies are using it, suddenly your job opportunities have dried up. You could specialize in a niche, make big money, but there also is some risk that they find a better technology and there's just less demand for your skills. Or you do an abundant skill set like project management, program management. Every company needs that. If you do that, then you're competing with a lot of people. It comes down to personality match to the management. Obviously, industry experience goes a long way. Those are probably the two things I look for the most to go along with whatever the company is exactly looking for.
So usually you're going to get interviews, like how does it work? You meet in person, you do a Zoom call, like how does it work?
So I find most of my people have LinkedIn. My LinkedIn, it's very dry. Here's exactly what I need. There's no articles posting. There's no quirky stories some people do on LinkedIn. It's literally just, here's what I have. Here's what it pays. Here's what they're looking for. I'll do maybe a quick Zoom if I don't know the person, just to get the feel for the personality, make sure it fits with my client, maybe give them some additional tips. I would say for anyone interviewing, if you're going through a recruiter like me, try to get that additional info. I mean, you know the job description. Some managers like you to keep your explanations tight. Some like you to kind of elaborate and go deep, and those little tweaks can really make or break your interview. Basically, all week, I'm just setting people up on interviews, trying to prepare them for interviews. A lot of people are just unprepared. Basically, you go to an interview, you need to have a routine down. It's like Dave Chappelle doesn't just go on stage.
Yeah.
he writes it out. He practices it. Interviews can be very unpredictable, but a couple things they're going to ask. They're going to ask about your last job. So when they're asking about your last job, you don't want to say, yeah, like you want to be tight with that explanation. That's going to come up. Make sure you weave in things you're doing at your current job that also are relevant to the job description that you're applying for or the company. That's the number one tip I always give people. Just go through the resume, just kind of walk through, okay, here's what I did. Oh, I did this, practice it, say it out a few times. That's going to come up. And just those little things on the interviews could be the difference between getting the job and just, we liked him, but we like this guy better.
Back in the day, I used to go to interviews as well, in Brazil. And it's pretty much the same thing, same type of process. And I remember really well, sometimes people would come to the interview so unprepared. And I feel like being confident as well, it's very important.
Yep.
And you're talking about LinkedIn, right? I feel like a lot of people, they don't care about LinkedIn. I didn't have a LinkedIn account until a few months ago.
Yeah.
How important it is LinkedIn?
Yeah, well, I mean, I tell anyone in college or anyone starting out, definitely establish a LinkedIn profile. A lot of people don't really know what it is. What is this? I don't know, boomer stuff. Back in the days before LinkedIn, if the company saw you posting your resume on a job board, they would say, hey, what's going on here? What, you're looking to leave? What's going on? Well, so LinkedIn kind of gets around that. It's kind of a hack. It's under the guise of networking. Meanwhile, you're posting your resume, you're posting all your skills, you're posting your accomplishments, and people see that. So and it's not like the company's going to say, oh, we saw you at a LinkedIn profile. So, I'm just networking. Oh, what do you mean? So that's really where I get, I'd say, 80 to 90% of my candidates. Make sure every skill that anyone could possibly search for that you have is on there, because a lot of times I'm just blasting out emails on there, and you might not come up, and you could be a great fit for a job that is much higher paying than you're currently at. Actually, I did an interview with American Income probably 6 months ago, and he said, do you have any tips? And so I gave some tips, and one was just check your LinkedIn, keep it updated.
I think that I saw that you post that.
You did? Yeah.
Yeah.
I got hammered in the comments. This is so obvious. This guy, well, he doesn't know anything. Meanwhile, as I'm reading these comments of all these people, just trashing me, I go on LinkedIn and people say, oh, is this job still available? Oh, I just saw this. I'm like,
yeah, this was like 2 months ago.
yeah, no, we filled it. And you are a great fit and you missed it. So always just kind of keep tabs on your LinkedIn. You never know who's going to be reaching out. It has got a little muddled. It's a little bit of a pitch fest now. Everyone you'll see it now that you're on it. People will be pitching you nonstop, but the job opportunities will still be coming through. Make sure you're on top of those.
What can help somebody to have a better opportunity to get a job through LinkedIn, like having a better photo?
Yeah, a photo is, it sounds obvious, but some people don't have it. And there's a lot, especially in tech, there are a lot of fake people. I've had people fake Zoom interviews, Teams interviews.
What do you mean fake?
As in someone else does the interview for them.
Oh, whoa.
So they get the job, they start day one, and the company says, hey, this is not the guy that interviewed. Who is this guy?
Whoa.
And I'm like, I don't know, this is the guy I've been talking to. So someone else jumps on the interview. So now I have to do a lot to get around that.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's absolutely crazy. So I'll record a quick Teams before where I'll tell them just to make sure this person is legit. I'll say, hey, I just want to jump on a Teams. I'm not going to ask you anything technical. Then when we jump on, I say, well, let's talk some technical skills. And I just want to get them talking, see if they're stuttering. Sometimes their Teams cuts out. Oh, wow, man, strange timing. So there's a lot of fakes. I've seen it all.
Can you tell me like some interesting story that happened with it?
Yeah, so I pretty much knew this one guy was fake and he was swearing he was real. So I said, okay, we're going to jump on a Zoom. Okay, so he's on the Zoom and I wasn't going to ask him anything technical because nothing made sense. His manager reference had 1 year experience. So I know you just gave me your friend who's going to say, yeah, he's really good. So I just start asking him that. He's thinking I'm going to ask him technical stuff. So he starts to panic. Meanwhile, The camera moves as he's panicking, and I see the guy on the couch next to him that was off camera, and this guy's on the phone answering all the questions.
Oh my God.
I was like, guys, come on. Like, now with everything, Teams, Zoom, everything like that, as many times you can tell someone to make sure the link works, it just happens all the time. And people shoot themselves in the foot, and the manager will say, he's not on. I'll say, what's going on? Oh, I'm trying the link didn't work. I thought we talked about checking it before. Listen, if someone was late because their internet got messed up because they didn't check it before, or the link didn't work, the company could say, well, this guy's a little sloppy. Is he going to be sloppy in his work with me? So this is his first impression. Not great. Another thing I mentioned on the interview with American Income that a lot of people slam me was just like easy stuff, like spelling mistakes and grammatical errors. I've seen some high-level people shoot themselves in the foot and not get 200, 250K jobs because it's like, oh, you missed this?
Yeah.
What are you going to miss when you work with us?
Seriously, man.
I try to catch as many as I can. A lot of my job is so obvious that it's not these golden tips, but I see it happen over and over again where people shoot themselves in the foot.
Just changing those small things can, change everything.
Yeah. And it's those margins that can ultimately be the deciding factor. Maybe it's pretty much even. You had the same background as someone else, and they were on time. Their link worked because they checked it beforehand, and those little things could make all the difference.
And I'm just interested to know how did you get into it? When and how?
I fell into this right out of college. I didn't know anything about tech. I didn't know recruit, like just nothing. I was like at frat parties, and then I went from frat parties to Indian weddings, like that. Just started cold calling, meeting people for lunch. Things were much different pre and post COVID.
What are the differences?
I used to do 3 to 5 lunches a week, probably a happy hour every other week, and go to a sporting event maybe once a month, maybe sometimes twice a month. That's kind of how you build relationships. And now it's totally virtual. I'll do probably 3 to 5 lunches a quarter versus a week.
Okay. Did you have any impact on your business?
A lot of tech jobs should have been remote anyway. Mm-hmm. And I would try to explain to these companies that you can get way better talent. Sometimes it's like, it's an insurance company. Well, our insurance brokers have to come on site, so these tech people have to come on site. I'm like, these guys can work from home. Some of them are taking 2-3 jobs at once, so they don't want to go into an office. It helped it a lot because sometimes there would be, like I was talking about, niche skill set. Okay, if you're looking in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for this niche skill set, there might be 5 guys in a 50-mile radius that are actual experts in that, and they want an expert. Do you relocate someone? It's just a big mess. Now that same guy could be in California and work from home, and now you're getting great work you wouldn't have got before. It was a long time coming for the industry to go fully remote. Some companies are bringing people back now, but the developers, these guys don't want to go on site. They have their setup. They have their multiple monitors set up. You're going to force these guys into a cube. It's just, you can do it, but your options are now this. I can only hire people in a geographic radius around my city. Now that pool is actually thin because some people that are in that pool have now remote jobs or only want to be remote. With the influx of remote jobs, now they have the options. That same pool you had in 2019, which was already small to begin with, is now way smaller. You can bring people on site, but you have to pay more. And some companies don't want to do that. So a lot of these jobs just stay open.
If a young guy wants to get into tech, how would that work? How are they able to get opportunities?
I would highly recommend them do boot camps, pick a skill set. In a couple weeks, you'll at least have a novice level of experience in a technology, just the supply and demand of some of these technologies. I have Python jobs. It's a coding skill, Python. There's just no one to do them in the US. And these jobs just stay open. The comp is $200K for a developer.
Whoa.
Now, you're not going to get that right off the bat, but within a year, you're probably going to be at 90, 100K. Another year, you'll be at, maybe you take a consulting job or maybe you're at 150. Right now, everyone wants to be a content creator or entrepreneur. You could still be an entrepreneur, but why don't we fill some of these 200K jobs that are just wide open for people in the US?
Would somebody need to go to college or?
No. As I'm trying to fill these 100 to 200K jobs that there's no one available for, I'm like, everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Whoa, I Googled, what is the average salary for an entrepreneur? I couldn't get it. It's tough to get a straight answer on that.
Of course.
But it's like 60 to 80K. And you're working sometimes way more than 40 hours a week. These jobs, you're making 100, 125, 175, 200, and you're only working 40 hours a week. I mean, you could tack something else on. I talked to one guy, he has 5 jobs. He's consulting on 2 spots. He said, oh, this job is basically an autopilot, and he's stacking income like that.
And imagine like getting all this money and investing in real estate,
That's what he's doing.
Man.
Yeah. So he's building out his passive income real estate portfolio. It's an amazing opportunity for people in the U.S., for these young guys and girls. The coding jobs are there. It's going to be there for a while. I know everyone's afraid of AI. AI may take out some low-level skills right now.
But if you know how to use AI, it's definitely gonna improve your job. You're gonna be able to make things faster, For example, ChatGPT, like you can write a script in like seconds, You can get 20 video ideas in a few seconds, It would take me so much time before, or I would need to hire somebody to do the copywriting for me. And now in seconds, I can get information, What do you think about ChatGPT and AI in general?
It's great for people updating their resume, because a lot of times that's like a bottleneck for me. People say, oh, this is a great job for me. Let me update my resume. Okay. And I'm waiting a day, 2 days, 3 days. Hey, did you get to it? Oh, no, I didn't get to it. If you literally type in any company and any job, say, give me bullet points for the CEO of Microsoft.
Okay.
It'll say, okay, it'll write, it'll give you some great bullet points, and you tweak them and you put them into your resume and go from there. You see those resumes with all those bullet points? A lot is fluff. ChatGPT will pull all that fluff stuff that you do every day that you articulate it. Well, my day-to-day is that it does all that for you. So I think it's an amazing tool. People I deal with, the management that are writing job descriptions, it could do it like that, because it'll pull it from other job descriptions on the internet. Oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Tweak this, that. Okay, good. Send. I use it all the time for writing emails. You want to write a thank you note to someone.
Do you work with a team or you work by yourself?
Yeah, I have recruiting partners that I use. I have a back office team that I partner with. I'm a solopreneur, don't have any employees. Maybe I will eventually do that. But for now, I kind of just outsource a lot of those functions, and I can focus on what I'm good at, and that's networking and doing business. I've been in Miami for a year and a half.
Where did you come from?
From Philadelphia. Yeah. So I was in Philly, and COVID kind of wreaked havoc on Philly. I had my eyes on Miami for a while. Finally made the move. First year you're here, you're out, you're partying. It's not too crazy, but you want to see it. After that year, you get out of your system and you say, okay, what's left? And so this year I've just been an animal with networking events. I'm at every event, masterminds, galas, anything I could just meet people, get ideas. I think I'm a big advocate of just get to events.
Okay.
Put yourself out there.
How important do you think that it is networking with people, going out to events? Because a lot of times we think about internet, right? Oh, I'm going to connect with people here on Instagram or Facebook, We don't want to go out because now things are so easy, like to have access to anybody. You can just like text people, jam people, right?
Yep.
And we ended up forgetting the importance of going out.
Yeah.
Right? Talking to people face to face.
It's crucial because you make that human connection. There's something to be said for that. No matter how well you guys are clicking over email or even Zoom, just that in-person connection really can make the difference. I started paying for networking groups. The ROI on that has been amazing. Everyone has skin in the game. Because I used to go to free networking events and it was just a bunch of salespeople. It was kind of a waste of time. But then when you pay for them, everyone shows up because you're trying to get your return on investment. Obviously, everyone wants to get value out of the group, but you also want to deliver value to everyone. Wherever you are in your area, look at some of the paid networking groups.
How do you find them?
Eventbrite has a lot of good stuff. See what events are just publicly out there. Now, the really good events are not going to be on Eventbrite. I was at a free event, met someone, said, you got to come to this one. Then, that's kind of how it works.
So you kind of need to know people to have access to those more close groups, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But start somewhere.
What do you think that's important, for example, for a young guy who is willing to get better with his skills, network with more people, like just get better in life?
Yeah.
And let's say this guy is trying to go to networking events, but he don't know how to communicate in those events. He don't want to be the sales guy, right?
Yeah.
He don't want to be the guy in the back of the room, right?
Yeah.
Like,
what is the best way to approach networking events, and what you should look for? Like how can you literally network with people? Because I see a lot of times, people going to networking events, they're on their phone, or
Yep.
just like not networking at all. So what are your tips, when it comes to
Yeah.
that?
Okay. So here's my one tip: is I always wear a suit, not suit and tie. Sometimes it's suit and t-shirt. The suit is a nice kind of opener at the networks because people ask you where you got it. That just starts up conversations. I go to some of these like cool guy events where in Miami, everyone's wearing the branded t-shirt and the hat and the sneakers. I'll show up in, blazer and suit. People come up, hey, how you doing? Love the suit. Where'd you get it? Boom, conversation. Meanwhile, everyone looks exactly the same. So that's one way to stand out. If I see someone, kind of older guy, looks pretty polished, I'll just walk up and say, you look like someone I should talk to. And then they kind of say, well, yeah, of course. Here's what that kind of opens people up. Say, yeah, I am important. Here's what I do. Instead of say, what do you do?
We love to talk about ourselves, so it's a great approach for sure. Like
Yeah.
instead of what do you do,
Yeah.
After that, right? They start talking about themselves, but what do you usually do after like talking a little bit? You start introducing yourself.
You start thinking of ways you guys can connect, work together. Obviously, it's great if they have a company and they're hiring. Okay, let's talk. Then it works great for me. But the thing that I love about living in Brickell, everyone's hustling here, and everyone wants to help each other out. If I find a mortgage person and they're looking to connect with a realtor, oh, cool, talk to my guy here. Oh, so it's like everyone is looking to find ways to work together or be of value, where it's, oh, you should talk to this person, this person. So, I mean, obviously it's great if you can directly work with them, but then try to add value from your network. Then you grow it that way. And then whatever they do, you meet someone that's a good fit. You say, oh, you got to talk to the Jim because he does this.
I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to networking, they think, what can I get? Like, what can I
Yeah.
get out of this person,
Yep.
But they don't think, what can I give,
Yep.
right? And the way that you're saying, like, if you have this mentality of, okay, even if I'm not working with them, what can I give to them, right?
Yep.
Now you're actually networking with people, like, it's like
Yep.
about helping each other out. And like you said, you were talking to me before, like you can meet this person here, they're going to introduce you to that person right there, that can help you in the future, right?
Yep.
Like a lot of times we can get disappointed because we're trying to network, and get opportunities and stuff, and then we don't get, let's say I'm talking to you and I don't get an opportunity from you, but maybe down the road, you can bring somebody to me, right? That I need.
That's a good point, because it's like, all right, you're networking, so let's combine our networks. How can we help each other? Who can I introduce you to? And who could you, and then once you do that, they'll feel, oh, maybe I can help him out some way.
Comparing to Philly, how being in Miami influenced in your life in terms of business, personal life?
You learn so much. You just absorb the amount of success, and a lot of people say, oh, a lot is fake. Yeah, sure. There's some people that have Ferraris that have nothing behind it. You see a Rolls Royce run down the street, Lamborghini, Ferrari, and you're like, oh, I have to step up my game here.
Seriously, man.
Like this guy's driving a $500,000 car. Okay, yeah, I need to go back to work. It's been inspirational, learning a ton of stuff, learning about real estate, buying. People just buy businesses. I had no idea. It's something like kind of a new concept to me, where you could just buy a boring business and people will sell it, and you can really do it for not a whole lot down. So I'm trying to kind of look into that as kind of a side income. Kind of thoughts like that were not in my head up in the Northeast. Down here, people kind of think a little differently. It's been a great experience so far, just from a business and success sense. I've been way more efficient in business since I've been here. Started to do a meal service. I Instacart everything. I don't step foot in a grocery store. Whatever it costs to Instacart something, you look at how much time you save in a week, then a month, then a year, and you're like, wow, I got an extra 2 weeks of work.
What do you do to stay in shape, especially like pandemic and everything, but like now, like you could just be comfortable at your house, making your money and not needing to care about your shape. And I was talking to you before, I'm so impressed how many fit people and healthy people there are around here in Florida in general, like going to the gyms, the guys are huge, man. And I'm like, I need to step up my game, I need to get in shape,
Obviously, it is a bit harder working from home, because for years I was in an office, and you're like, simple things that you don't even realize just add up. Like I was saying about the time in grocery stores adds up over a year. Well, just going to the bathroom in an office, it was like a quarter city block to like get up from my cube. You take all those steps. Yeah, and in a day, it's not that many, but it adds up. So if you're eating the same amount of food, well, you're going to store that as fat. So you have to walk you have to get that step deficit. I never walked when I lived in a city and worked in an office because I'd walk to the office, walk back. There's 2 miles a day. A lot of people gained a lot of weight because they ate the same foods, or they had more access to their food because it's right in their kitchen.
Yeah, man.
They're not walking, and you just start caloric surplus, and fat. For efficiency during the week, I'll do a couple HIIT classes because I'm right back. It's an hour door to door.
Yeah. How often do you go to the gym? Do you have like a gym here in your building?
We have a gym here. I'll go there a couple days a week. I'll do HIIT a couple days a week, and then I'll do walks. I mean, obviously it's always nice here for the most part. If I need something else, I'll just do 15 to 20 minutes of just zone 2 cardio. So I think like before you radically change your life, I always tell people, oh, I'm going to go on this crash diet. I'm going to do this, that.
Never work, man.
Just why don't you just walk once a day? It'll be slow, but it'll add up. And if that's not even working, then just do 15 minutes on the elliptical. I mean, anyone could do that.
Yeah.
And you do that for a couple days a week, and those small changes over time will make a big impact.
Do you have like a meal plan, or do you track your macros, or
I don't know how to do any of that. I just eat on feel. I try to get a high protein, try to eat a lot of meats. I'm in my late 30s now, but my testosterone levels are higher than they were at 30. I don't even lift that heavy, but if you just lift below the crotch line, that will increase your testosterone. So I try to do as many things. I don't want to go on TRT. I will if I have to, but I'm going to try as many natural things as possible. I do red light therapy. Do we have a cold plunge in the building? I do that.
How often do you do that?
A couple days a week, about 2 minutes in there. It's kind of a skill you have to build up. Some people will just put a foot in and say, I can't ever do this.
Do you do like cold showers in the morning or no?
A little bit. I'll turn it. Not full cold.
For like
I'll
5
get some
seconds.
heat. Yeah. Then back to a little warmth. But yeah, it's good to just shock your system. Listen, it's very hard to stay in shape, especially in America. God knows what we put in the food. Versus when people go to Europe and they say, "Oh, I was in Italy. I was eating pasta."
Coming from Brazil, like the food tastes so different there.
Yeah.
It's like just fresh and like more. You can feel the flavors. Like it's all better, man. Right. And also, it's so easy to go to a grocery store and you have like all the junk food. Way more junk food than healthy food.
Yeah.
And you feel tempted, to eat all that stuff because it's good, tastes good,
Of course, it's designed to be addictive.
Yes. So like for you, for example, like staying in shape, like having a nice body, taking care of your health, and being fit. Does it help at all, like in your business? Because I feel like people comment, right? Like when you're going to networking events and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you fit into suits a lot better. You have the nice you want the nice curve in the back in the suits. Oh my God, this looks great. Look at the most successful people on earth. People that have just hundreds of billions of dollars. Look at Bezos. Now he's jacked.
Yeah.
God knows what they have him on. But now, this guy was like a geek in the 90s. Now he's big. He's got veins running down. Like, I'm like, whoa.
I saw a photo of him on a boat. I was like, that's crazy. Man.
Yeah. He's in his late 50s now, and he looks better than ever. And then, and Elon, remember Elon posted he was shirtless, and he just got slammed, and then he immediately went on a diet. So these guys that have achieved success that, few people in the history of the planet have achieved, if they look sloppy, it kind of like,
yeah. And I feel like a lot of people, they would use them as excuses to don't get fit. Yep. Like, like you're saying all this type of stuff. Look at Elon Musk. He's not even fit, and he had billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Now that you cannot see this anymore.
Yeah. Amazing entrepreneurs, brilliant accomplishments, incredible. And then when it comes to their health, sometimes they're a little lazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, you're not lazy in business ever.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your health, more important, that's hard.
Yeah.
Well, you've never used that "it's hard" excuse in business ever. You would never accept that from any of your employees.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
Well, step up.
Find a way, man.
Yeah. So it's like you need to be an animal in business. You need to be an animal with your health.
Yeah.
And you have to be really diligent with it. It's very rare that someone just kind of isn't on top of the ball.
Yeah.
And, is able to still look good, especially in America.
Especially when you're having this type of lifestyle, eating junk food, just going to McDonald's and stuff like that, you just feel lazy.
Yeah.
And eating a lot of sugar, like you feel so exhausted all day. Because a lot of times we are busy, right? But doesn't mean that we are doing productive things,
Right.
What would be like your tips to be more productive, during the day?
Anything you could outsource, do that. I mean, like I said about the Instacart thing, again, I do a meal service because I can easily just heat it up, eat it, throw it out. No cleanup, no prep, nothing. It's just done. You save a half hour here, half hour there. Even if you're not, working like an animal during that half hour, it's better than zero that would have been before. Be as efficient with your time as possible and just make the most of anytime you have a chance for deep work, which I like to do early in the morning sometimes. Feels like you've worked 3 days before 8 o'clock. I mean, sometimes I'll get up at 4:30, and those are just game changer days.
So what do you do when you wake up at 4:30?
You're just knocking out the tasks that you pushed off. Just quick. Oh, I should do this. Well, and now there's no distractions. So now you have time just to knock it out. Something I never did up in Philly, but I do here. You're around some people and it kind of gets inside the successful habits, ideas, and they start thinking different ways. And you say, ooh, okay, that's not a fit for me, but yeah, that's really good stuff. I'm just going to steal that idea and start implementing it right away.
How important it is for you, the people that you have around you?
Extremely important. People around down here, we're talking about investments together, real estate. Those are the type of people you want to be around. If you're not around the right people, then nowadays it's so easy to move.
If you don't have the money to network with, top hitters, what can you do? How can you put yourself in situations that gonna bring you closer to wealthy, successful individuals?
Well, I would say try to find a way to add value in any way. Because a lot of people reach out to me and they'll say, hey, let me get your time. Hey, I want to jump on a call. I want to pick your brain. I'm like, well, okay. Like that's their opening line is let me pick your brain. It's like, no, let me, like for me, I would never say that to someone that I'm looking to get in front of. It's like, hey, what can I do for you? You have to start answering that question. Like, oh, this guy's great. Okay, now let me help him. Even when they do that, I still try to, I try to help as many people as I can. But when you start off with that, it's kind of like, all right, I'll get to you when I can. Since I've been here, you just get pitched. And people want to pitch their service. And sometimes they'll just wear you down. They'll get on your calendar, and then they're just wasting your time. And so I've decided to cut all of that out.
What somebody needs to have in order to work with you?
Nowadays, some of these skill sets that if you have Python, full stack development, cybersecurity, or cloud services, AWS or Azure, Microsoft Azure, I'm dying to work with you. Let's talk because I could get you a job like that. The demand for talent and the supply of talent, it's just such a huge disparity.
How long do you think that would take to somebody to learn these skills, to be able to, do codes and get an opportunity like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, these boot camps are usually 6-week boot camps, cost a couple grand. I had one guy, he was a EMT firefighter, did a 6-week boot camp in Ruby on Rails, a coding skill. His first job, he got hired, entry-level job, probably like $50K. Some of the boot camps will actually place you in entry-level jobs.
Whoa.
You pay them some money, and then they place you in a job, basically. So he was making $50K. I found him a job about 6 months later. I was paying him $50 an hour, about $2,000 a week now. About 6 months later, the company converted him to a salaried employee of theirs, paying him $120K. Just over a year, this guy went from an EMT, he's now $120K guy, developer. He left that job, got a $100 an hour job. So now he's making $4K a week. From a $30K EMT, 2 years later, now he's making $200K.
How can you find those boot camps? Going online and looking up?
Yeah, be careful. Make sure it's a reputable one. A lot of the colleges even have boot camps now. They got into business because they've realized these developers aren't doing these 4-year degrees. So why don't we just get in this boot camp business? It's like University of Miami has a great one. There's a lot of really good ones. There are even free ones online. You could learn some of these skills, Python on YouTube. The demand for these skills is still so high. It's really a great opportunity, especially for someone that doesn't really know what they want to do. Try it. Maybe you're really good at coding. Well, let's just say you get the coding skills and then you start a business and then you need the website. guess what? Now you're not paying people to do that. You're just knocking it out real quick using your coding skills. They are valuable skills to have even outside of the employment aspect. That's one thing I preach to people, especially people that don't know what to do, because I get a lot of young guys reach out and say, how do I get into your business? I say, well, here's how you get in my business. And the recruiting side, a lot of networking, but consider this too. And everyone, it's like everyone down in Brickell is, there's only a couple career paths. There's entrepreneur, real estate, tech, sugar babies, OnlyFans,
Content creators.
content creators. Yeah, it's definitely a unique place as far as that goes. One thing I would say is live in a more expensive area than you can afford. Don't go crazy, but you'll be amazed how you step up to meet those expectations.
It's interesting because most people would say the opposite, and I'm on your side. I think in the same way. But most people, they will say the opposite, like, live below your needs, right? Like, you don't need to spend all this money. You're young, save money, put money in the bank, and this type of crap advice. But I really think the same way. Like, if you're living in a more expensive area, right? Like, you're gonna find ways, to have a better income. I'm considering, like maybe not moving here, somewhere around. I was thinking about Boca Raton, for example. Yeah. And a lot of people are saying, it's an expensive area. And I'm like, that's what I want, right. Because there are people there that I can connect with, right? Seeing the nice cars around, people who are fit, all of this really, send many messages to your subconscious, on a daily basis, like being around things like that just makes you want to grow more.
You can't help but absorb it, really. And live a little bit above what you think you should, because you can always downside. Let's just say you buy a car a little bit nicer than you should, you'll step up, or you could always, without kids and anyone depending on you, obviously, you'll step up. And worst case, you can always just get a shittier car. So you can trade it back. You can trade down, and you'll fight to keep that level because your brain will say, okay, this is the level we're at. Well, we're not going back.
Yeah.
What do we have to do? Okay. Work harder. Oh, that's it. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's step up. Oh, network more. Okay. Fine. Great. Let's do it. A little advice I would give to any young guys, and I talk to young men all the time. It's something very passionate for me. A guy I was close with got divorced, got kind of sloppy in his divorce, and unfortunately committed suicide. So men's issues and helping men is definitely an important thing for me, because I don't really think a lot of people care about those issues. So for me, it's very important.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, especially when I speak to women, for example, my wife, I was talking to her about this another day, and what man needs to go through, in life. Like, since you're young, like, you learn that you need to know how to talk to girls, and women are gonna say, yeah, but we can do the same, but they, okay, there are women that do. There are women that approach guys. Most of the times, the guy gonna need to do the approach, right? And I was talking to my wife about this. She was like, I don't think that's important to make a channel, like YouTube channel or podcast, teaching guys how to, talk to women, or just how to be more, masculine. Yeah. I was like, you're saying that because you're a woman, you don't understand what we go through, every single day. And at the end of the day, man, like, I heard this so many times, when we are going through struggles, like, yes, we can talk to a girl, but keep talking to a girl about your struggles and keep crying to see what's going to happen. Like, nobody gives a shit about how we feel, and we need to keep pushing. And, like, for example, you, like, man, if you're going through something hard, it doesn't matter, man. You need to keep working, making money, like, helping your team, like, you need to keep pushing and pushing. And on top of that, like, it's not that, I feel like a lot of times women think that we are, like, pretending, to be masculine, or just acting like we're masculine. But for example, like, talking to you, I can see that you're a very masculine guy, like your voice, the way that you are, and that's not you acting. I can see that. That's not you acting. There are guys that act like they're masculine, right? Sure. But, like, that's who you are, Man, if I see a young guy who needs help, who don't know how to talk to women, and feel like crap because he don't have the skills, he didn't learn this from his dad, for example, why would you not help,
Exactly.
if you can?
Exactly.
Right?
I feel like there's so many traps that young men fall into with the video games. Just a waste of time. Like, I know Ninja makes $20 million to play video game, or some of these guys. I don't even know who they are, but yes, there are some people that get paid to play video games a lot of money. That's not going to be you. It's just not. I mean,
There's the reality.
It's just not. So you're just wasting time, right? And so I mean, video games, porn. I'm very anti because. Not for any like religious reasons. I just think it just messes with men's brains. So you cut out the video games, you cut out the porn.
How do you think that porn, for example, can make a negative impact in your life as a man?
It just zaps your energy, first of all, and it really, they're seeing. Now, I'm not. I couldn't rattle off research papers on it, but I've kind of seen some of the really bad looking research on what it does to men's brains and just that dopamine hit. And you see these young guys, teenagers, never been with a woman. And now when they finally have the chance, their brain is wired to only be aroused via a screen. And now you have the real thing in front of you. It's like you think about historically, to see a naked woman, you had to actually accomplish something. You had to help the tribe, win the war. Now you can without accomplishing anything, you could see a naked woman, better looking than anyone that you know. And so
like quick access to the
quick dopamine hit, right?
And it's crazy because the dopamine levels go up and then they go down like it's crazy.
Yeah. And then you have, and to reach that high again, you have to,
see more extreme shit, right?
More extreme. And then now you're into some weird stuff. And that's how it messes with men's brains. So I would say cut that out. I would say watch sports, use it as a distraction, but then be back on your focus. Do not simp over athletes. Do not simp over sports. Yeah, be into the game. Okay, fine. But use it as a distraction. That's what it's there for. You're celebrating that guy's accomplishments.
Seriously.
You need to get your own accomplishments.
Yeah. Like, that's my team. No, it's not, man.
Yeah.
You didn't buy team.
What's this we? Did you sign the $20 million a year deal? No, that was him. So you need to go get your own accomplishments. If you're working out or, okay, you're on the highway, listen to music. But if you're just sitting at home, like, well, why listen to music? Like, okay, if you're at the club or whatever, okay, listen to music. But it's kind of like, you look at these podcasts, for instance, yours, millions of podcasts of men that have accomplished things that you want to accomplish, and they're willing to sit there for 2 hours and talk about it and they'll tell every move they made. Like, that's what you should be listening to.
Seriously, like instead of going through mistakes by yourself, learning by your own mistakes, you can literally learn by people's mistakes, right? Listening to music, I not even listen to rap anymore, I mean, like maybe when I go to the gym sometimes I get some extra pump, whatever, I can listen to some stuff.
Sure.
But just like all that negative shit coming inside of your mind, just, like a little change your mood. But besides that, like, man, listen to a podcast, for example, like you said, you're just learning, just like absorbing information,
Yeah. There's so much great information out there. It's like kind of paralysis by analysis, but I like to take in everything and then cherry pick what works for me. So, I mean, some of these guys, they have very strong views about something. It's like, okay, that doesn't really vibe with me, but this guy's really, it doesn't mean he hasn't accomplished great things, but I'm going to take this thing that he said though. Maybe not this thing, like a lot of like Alex Hormozy's like, you don't need a nice car.
I would get really confused because I would see a very successful guy talking about this and that, and then they'll be, you don't need to buy nice clothes, you don't need to wear a suit,
Right.
you don't need to, like have a nice car.
Right.
And like, for me, that's bullshit. Okay. But what you're saying about this other thing, like here, how to make money and this and that, I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, just look at investing. It's like, Elon has a ton of money and he bought these companies. He bought into these companies. And Warren Buffett does stocks like nothing else. And then other people do just real estate. Oh, stocks are bullshit, real estate. And this guy only does crypto. Oh, everything's bullshit but crypto. It's like, oh, okay, well, who do I listen to? Pick and choose, take it all in and use your life experiences to bounce some of those ideas off. Okay, that doesn't work for me. That does work for me. That's good stuff. I don't like that. Now you're developing your habits, your thoughts. And now you're kind of setting yourself up for success. But yeah, you're right. Don't just, this guy does it, so I'm going to do it. Well, it doesn't work for you.
How do you make sure that, like if you start liking somebody a lot, But for example, for a young guy, you know, who is trying to get better, then they find a mentor, you know, or just somebody who they consider as a mentor, they start to listen to everything that the person is saying, but maybe some things won't work for them if they're applying their lives, right? What would you say to them, you know, like in order to be able to make better decisions and, you know, listen to the right advices?
I would say go with your gut. And even if it's against what the mentor or someone someone does online, go with your gut. Maybe they were right. Maybe you were right. Take the information in and then just make swift, decisive action.